Now let me tell you the story of something that happened to me last summer. One day I was just strolling around. I decided to go over to my friend Bob's house. And the door was closed. I knocked on it like I usually do, and Bob had answered the door. So I decided to walk in. Now, as you know, most things that happen at a friend's house are very nice. But this visit wasn't particularly good because Bob was being a little weird and it was just normal, and I left at the usual time I do because why not? And Bob seemed sad, so I decided to go back the next day. And as soon as I entered that house, I heard something from the basement. So I decided to sprint into that house. Sprint over to Bob and say, "Bro, did you hear that in the basement?" And then Bob said, "Yeah, of course." So, why was it there? A thought rushed through my head. Why? Why was it there? Why? A random noise right when I entered. It almost sounded like a high-pitched scream. I had felt a little weird, and then I looked at Bob's shirt, and it had a stain on it. Not just any stain. The stain was wet. It didn't look like ketchup, and I'm most certain there was a patch of skin on the red stain. Bob had murdered somebody. I didn't know what to do. I just thought I should confront him, but without him knowing. I felt like he could read my mind, but he couldn't. So after a long, horrifying silence, he said, "So, what do you want to do today? Murder people? Start a massacre? Kill everyone?" I had screamed out of my head as soon as he said those 3 words. I didn't even know what was happening anymore. It was too much for me. I couldn't do it anymore. It was just too much. Even if I tried, I couldn't stay in that house. I would have barfed. I would have barfed my lungs out if I stayed in there any longer. So I booked it out of that house. I stayed home for a while, and then I came back to his house the next year. And surprisingly, he had remembered me. He hadn't even forgot one bit about me and was crying in the corner with a paper above his head taped to the wall that said, "Please come back, unlisted name," because I don't want to list my name. Anyways, I was there and I'm like, "Bob!" And he was like, You're back?" "Yes, finally. Yeah, sorry about that. My parents were forcing me to murder people. I don't know why, how. My dad, Isaac Grossman, he's been... I can't do it anymore." And then I walked up to Bob, patted him on the shoulder, and said, "Bob, it's fine. Your parents won't do that again." And then Bob said, "Really?" So I decided to cheer him up with a funny YouTube video he found about cats in a store. It was really funny. They both laughed their head off, played their usual games, and he left at the same time he always did. But this routine was getting weird, because soon when he went to sleep, he started hearing screaming from the basement of the house. Now, unlisted name has been listed as Isaac. Now, Isaac was really, really weirded out. Screaming coming from the basement at night. So we decided to run over there at night. It was only a block away. And when he got into the house, his friend Bob was standing up there crying in the corner. And then he went up to him and said, "What's happening?" And then he said, "No, it's happening again." So Bob was scared out of his mind. Same with me. I don't know how this started happening or anything. So it had just occurred to me that this had happened last 5 years ago. This happened in my family. His dad came in and started murdering people secretly in our basement. And then I figured out about it, and he flipped me off because he didn't want me to tell anybody. So anyways, I know that he's the one doing it. So Bob, don't worry. There must be something down there that isn't your dad. Something must be in your dad. The thing in the basement isn't your dad. Okay, Bob, we have to go down there and see what's happening. We walked slowly downstairs, tipped open the door, and saw a fermented shadow creature slowly but surely pulling a knife out of the victim's stomach. Me and him both barfed in the trash can as the fermented shadow figure walked over and said, "Don't you want to play with me?" We both screamed, "No!" And we leapt down. We leapt down from the bottom. We leapt up from the bottom step to the top step. I don't even know how we did it, but we still did it. And then we slowly ascended into my house as the thing was chasing us. It didn't know how to go through walls like any normal ghost would. So we were safe in my house. But there was still one thing. It was a shadow. It could travel with the power of shadows, which means it could transform into any other shadow by going into it. I didn't even know what to do. I felt weird. And then I felt a slight tingle on my back. And then I heard a slight voice say, "You shouldn't have done that." Ha 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 ha!